70 years of life. 70 years of breathing, loving, giving, and growing. You've reached a chapter many never get to see, a rare and precious time. Have you noticed something? This chapter isn't asking you to do more. Instead, it gently invites you to feel more. My dear friend, this isn't your season for striving anymore. This is your season for releasing. Think about it. You've dedicated decades showing up for everyone else, your family, your friends, your community. You've carried responsibilities that sometimes felt heavier than mountains. But I want to ask you something important today. What if you showed up just as fully for yourself? What if the peace, joy, and freedom you've been searching for aren't things you need to chase at all? What if they've been waiting quietly underneath all the clutter, not just in your home, but in your heart and mind? Welcome to today's episode of Elders' Wise Insight. I'm going to share 8 powerful things that women over 70 can gently, lovingly let go of to create a life that feels lighter, more peaceful, and deeply fulfilling. Remember this, letting go doesn't mean losing. It means choosing. Choosing yourself. Choosing ease. Choosing joy. And if there's a little voice whispering that it's too late to live life on your own terms, let me tell you something important. This is exactly the right time. Let's begin our journey. 1. Let go of physical clutter that closes you in. Over your lifetime, you've gathered so many beautiful things. Not just furniture or knickknacks, but pieces of your story. Photo albums filled with smiling faces from decades past, letters tied with ribbon, souvenirs from trips that changed you, gifts from people who loved you. Every shelf in your home tells a story of who you've been, what you've seen, whom you've loved. That's beautiful. But there comes a moment, often after 70, when we need to ask ourselves an honest question. Do all these things still serve me, or have they become a weight I'm carrying? Clutter doesn't start as a burden. It begins with treasures. But years pass, and suddenly drawers are full, closets overflow, and attics become storage for lives you used to live. You might walk into a room and feel tired, not from what you did that day, but from what surrounds you. That's not about messiness. It's about emotional weight. When you let go of physical things, you're not erasing memories. You're not being careless or ungrateful. You're choosing peace over pressure, simplicity over stress. You're allowing your home to reflect who you are today, not just who you were 30 years ago. You've earned the right to outgrow your surroundings. Start small, 1 drawer, 1 box, 1 shelf. Hold each item. Feel it. Ask yourself, do I still need this? Do I still want this? Or am I just afraid to let it go? That fear is natural, but freedom waits on the other side. Remember, many items you no longer need could brighten someone else's life. That warm blanket, the extra dishes, the radio that still works. These things could bring comfort to someone with very little. Donating isn't throwing away. It's passing love in a new direction. At this stage of life, less isn't emptiness. Less is peace. It's room to breathe. Space to think clearly and live fully. You've earned that peace. Let your home reflect it. 2. Release relationships that silently drain your energy. Throughout your life, you've been so many things to so many people. Mother, sister, wife, friend, helper, peacemaker. You've listened when no one listened to you. You've shown up even when you were bone tired, even when your heart felt heavy. You've carried the emotional load for others more times than you can count. There's beauty in that love and sacrifice. But here's a truth we need to name. Not everyone in your life deserves to continue walking with you into this next chapter. Relationships aren't just about history. They're about health, your emotional health. At this stage of life, the question isn't, how do I keep everyone happy? But rather, does this connection bring me peace? Does this person truly see and value who I am? Some people in your life lift you up with just a phone call. They make you feel warm, whole, and heard. Others leave you feeling tired, unseen, or somehow smaller. They might never say anything outright cruel, but the pattern is there: one-sided conversations, subtle criticism, emotional manipulation, or simple neglect. Letting go of draining relationships doesn't mean you're angry or unkind. It means you're finally protecting your peace. You understand that your emotional energy is precious. You're no longer willing to trade your well-being for someone else's comfort. This isn't about harsh cutoffs. Sometimes it simply means spending less time with those who drain you, keeping certain conversations light, declining invitations not out of spite, but out of self-respect. Sometimes it might mean loving someone from a distance. You can care about someone deeply while recognizing that their presence in your life no longer feels safe or supportive. That's not failure. That's wisdom. You deserve a circle of people who celebrate you, who lift your spirit, who make you feel safe, soft, and strong all at once. People who ask how you're doing, not just when they need something. People who listen as much as they speak. People who love you as you are, not as they expect you to be. At 70 and beyond, your time is gold. Your energy is sacred. Spend it where you're valued. 3. Release responsibilities that no longer belong to you. Many women carry a quiet belief into their later years that their worth is still tied to how much they do for others. That if they're not cooking, organizing, helping, reminding, or managing something or someone, then they're not needed. But after decades of caretaking, service, and sacrifice, you've earned the right to ask a powerful question. What responsibilities in my life no longer belong to me? Perhaps you're still the one your family calls when there's a problem. Maybe you still feel you must host every holiday, keep the house spotless, or take care of others before yourself. You might tell yourself, this is just who I am. This is what I do. But is it still what you want? Does it still bring you joy? Or has it become a quiet weight? There's a difference between being helpful and being overburdened. Between being generous and being taken for granted. Maybe you're maintaining a large home that now feels more like a list of chores than a place of comfort. Maybe you're still running errands for people who could help themselves, saying yes out of habit, not desire. It's not selfish to set that burden down. It's healthy. You've spent your life carrying others. Now is the time to carry yourself with lightness. Ask yourself, if I let go of this task, this duty, this expectation, what would happen? If the answer is simply that you would feel more peace, that's reason enough. Let go of the idea that everything depends on you. Let your grown children cook the meal. Let someone else organize the family gathering. Let the garden grow a little wild. The world won't fall apart. In fact, it might grow stronger because others will learn to step up. You're not abandoning anyone. You're trusting that life doesn't need to be micromanaged. Your golden years aren't meant to be one long to-do list. They're meant to be a deep breath, a time to rest, to savor, and to simply be. 4. Let go of regrets and the voice that says you're not enough. By now, your life has seen joy and loss, courage and fear, success and failure. You've done your best. And yet, like many women, there may still be a quiet voice inside that says, I should have done more, or I made too many mistakes. That voice whispers about moments you can't go back and fix. Words you wish you'd said. Choices you wish you'd made differently. This is regret, one of the heaviest burdens a heart can carry. But it's also one of the most unnecessary, because regret can't rewrite the past. It can only rob you of the present. What would happen if you forgave yourself? Not just for the big things, but for the small, silent things too. For staying too long where you shouldn't have. For the opportunities you missed. For the dreams you didn't pursue. Would you tell your younger self she was doing the best she could? Then tell yourself that now. You're not defined by what you wish you had done. You're defined by what you did, and by the woman you became because of it. Every experience gave you wisdom. Every stumble taught you something. Every closed door led you to a different room, a different version of your life. One that's still worthy, still full of beauty. And let's talk about that harsh voice in your mind. The one that says you're not thin enough, smart enough, strong enough, patient enough. Would you speak that way to your daughter? To your best friend? Then please stop speaking that way to yourself. You've been through enough. You don't need to earn your worth. You already have it. You don't need to prove yourself. You already have. Speak to yourself with the same kindness you offer others. Choose words that reflect the gentleness you've always given away. Letting go of regret isn't about pretending you never struggled. It's about honoring that you survived. It's about choosing softness where there used to be shame. It's about opening the door to joy because you finally believe you deserve it. From today forward, let your inner voice be one of compassion. When you look back, do it with grace. When you speak to yourself, speak with love. You're still here, and that alone is a miracle worth celebrating. 5. Let go of habits that quietly steal your joy. We pick up certain habits early in life because they help us survive. We push through exhaustion. Skip meals because there's no time. Keep feelings bottled up. Put everyone else first. Over decades, these patterns become so familiar we forget they were never meant to last a lifetime. After 70, your body begins asking for something different. More gentleness, more rest, more nourishment. It speaks in subtle ways: a tight muscle, a foggy mind, a restless night. These aren't failures. They're messages. Invitations to pay attention, to slow down, to care for yourself in ways you may never have before. Unhealthy habits often look like small daily choices: skipping breakfast, drinking too much coffee but not enough water, watching hours of negative news, saying yes when your heart whispers no, sitting all day because moving feels uncomfortable, avoiding your doctor because you fear what they might say. These patterns add up. Over time, they shape how you feel, not just in your body, but in your spirit. You might feel tired without knowing why, lonely even when people are around, disconnected from the joy you once had. But here's the good news: change is always possible. Even now. Especially now. You don't need a complete overhaul or a strict routine. What you need is a gentle return to care. A reminder that your health matters. That your needs matter. Start small. Drink a glass of water when you wake up. Step outside and breathe deeply. Turn off the television if the news leaves you anxious. Move your body, even just a little, every day. Your health isn't just about avoiding illness. It's about creating a life that feels good to live, filled with energy, clarity, and calm. You deserve to feel good. Not because you worked hard, not because you earned it, but because you're alive. And being alive is reason enough to care for yourself. Let go of habits that slowly wear you down. Replace them with moments that lift you up. You're not too old to change. You're wise enough to choose better, softer, more loving ways of being. Starting now. 6. Let go of beliefs that keep you small. Throughout your life, you were taught many things about being a woman, about growing older, about aging. Some beliefs gave you strength, but others built invisible walls around your spirit. They taught you to stay quiet, to avoid conflict, to make yourself small so others could feel big, to believe that once you reached a certain age, life was about decline, not discovery. These beliefs aren't facts. They're old stories, and you have every right to stop repeating them. Maybe you were told that asking for help is weakness. But the truth is, asking for help is one of the greatest forms of wisdom. It means you understand your worth. Maybe you were told that aging means becoming less relevant. But in reality, you're more experienced, more grounded, and more needed than ever. Maybe you believed you had to put everyone else's needs ahead of your own, because that's what good women do. But now, you have permission to put yourself first. Letting go of outdated beliefs doesn't mean forgetting where you came from. It means honoring how far you've come. It means saying to yourself, I don't need to live by rules that were built for someone else's comfort. It means writing new beliefs that reflect the truth of your life now. You're not too old to learn something new. You're not too old to start a hobby, build new friendships, or explore new ways of thinking. Growth doesn't stop with age. It deepens. It becomes more meaningful. You're not finished. You're becoming. What beliefs have held you back? What quiet rules have you followed without question? What if you let them go? What might open up in your life? What joy have you been telling yourself you're too late for? You're not late. You're right on time. Let go of old stories that shrink you. Embrace the truth that you are powerful, capable, curious, and free. Your age doesn't limit your light. It magnifies it. The most beautiful chapters of your life may still be ahead, but only if you believe they're possible. 7. Let go of financial worries that no longer serve you. You've spent much of your life thinking carefully about money, saving for the future, budgeting for your family, stretching every dollar to make sure others had what they needed. Maybe you went without so your children could have more. Maybe you passed up vacations, new clothes, or hobbies because something else always felt more urgent. And now, here you are in your 70s or beyond, still carrying those old habits of worry. But here's the truth. Many of those financial fears no longer serve you. It's one thing to be responsible. It's another to live in quiet fear, always waiting for the next crisis, even when you've already prepared for it. That voice inside saying, what if I run out of money? Or what if I become a burden? May not reflect your current reality. It may simply be a habit, an old form of stress that followed you from the past. You planned. You sacrificed. You saved. And if you're financially secure today, It's time to allow yourself something you've given others so freely, comfort. You don't need to apologize for buying something that makes your life easier. You don't need to feel guilty for enjoying a good meal out, or buying a new chair that supports your back, or signing up for a class you've always wanted to take. That's not being careless. That's honoring the life you worked so hard to build. You're not being selfish when you use your money to bring joy into your life. That joy is the return on decades of hard work. You didn't save just to keep saving. You saved so that one day you could live with freedom and peace. That day has come. If financial worry still lingers, consider talking with a trusted financial advisor or someone who understands money. Sometimes just seeing the numbers clearly can ease the fear in your mind. You don't need to carry the weight of what if anymore. You can replace fear with clarity. And from clarity, confidence is born. Let go of the guilt around spending. Let go of the fear of not having enough. You've done enough. Now let your money serve you, not the other way around. 8. Let go of the fear of change. There's comfort in routine, in knowing what to expect, in waking up each morning surrounded by the familiar. That comfort is real. It brings stability. But sometimes it also brings fear. Fear of losing what is known. Fear of what might happen if something changes. As we grow older, that fear often grows stronger, even when change might lead to something better. Maybe you're considering downsizing your home, but feel overwhelmed by the process. Maybe your neighborhood has changed, or your body has changed, or your friendships have changed, and it all feels like too much. Maybe you hesitate to try something new technology, a new community group, even a new hairstyle, because the unknown feels unsafe. But remember this, change is not your enemy. It's a door. Yes, change can be uncomfortable. Yes, it can bring sadness or nostalgia. But it can also bring peace, opportunity, and joy you never expected. The fear of change often comes from believing we'll lose something important. But what if, instead, we gain something essential? What if change brings you closer to the life you were always meant to live? Think of how many changes you've already faced. You've adapted through loss, illness, relocations, retirement, and grief. And still here you are. That's proof of your strength. You don't fear change because you're weak. You fear it because you're wise. But wisdom also knows when to say, I am ready. Let go of the belief that everything must stay the same to feel safe. Let go of the voice that says, I can't do that, or it's too late for me. It's not too late. It's right on time. Trying something new at 70 or 80 isn't unusual. It's courageous. It's inspiring. Change doesn't mean chaos. It can be as simple as shifting how you spend your mornings, choosing a different path when you walk, saying yes to a new invitation, or finally giving yourself permission to say no. You're not too old for new beginnings. You're perfectly seasoned for them. You've lived through enough endings to understand that every change is a chance to come home to yourself in a new way. Let go of the fear. Embrace the curiosity. There's still so much life ahead, and it's waiting for you to open the door. Let this be your time. You've walked through so many seasons. You've raised children, buried loved ones, made sacrifices, celebrated victories, carried the quiet weight of responsibility for decades. You've been strong for others more times than anyone knows. And now, right now, this is your time. Not to prove anything, not to fix anyone, but to come home to yourself, to gently lay down what no longer belongs to you, and to pick up what has always been waiting. Peace, joy, clarity, and rest. Letting go isn't about loss. It's about making space. When you let go of clutter, you make room for calm. When you release draining relationships, you make room for love that lifts you. When you release regrets and harsh self-talk, you make space for compassion. When you stop fearing change, you open yourself to all that life still has to offer. And life does still have so much to offer. There are sunrises you haven't yet watched, conversations you haven't yet had, books you haven't yet read, laughter that hasn't yet risen from your chest. There is still time, still beauty, still purpose. You're not defined by what you let go of. You're defined by what you choose to keep and what you allow to grow. You're allowed to say, this is no longer mine to carry. You're allowed to say, I choose ease over expectation. You're allowed to say, I'm enough just as I am. Let this be the chapter where you no longer chase anyone's approval. Let it be the chapter where your days feel lighter, your decisions clearer, and your heart more at peace. You've earned the right to live gently, to live freely, to live with joy that isn't rushed or forced, but honest and quiet and steady. Thank you for spending this time with me today. I hope these words helped you feel seen, heard, and supported. If they did, I'd love to hear from you. Share with me, in your own words, what you're ready to release and what you're ready to welcome. Remember, you are not alone. Far from it. You're just beginning one of life's most honest chapters.